brand new pair of shoes. I got the attention, I'm on a mission. No sweat in the way I step, I got a fresh new attitude. Oh my, 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 oh my, my, my. Call me a king, can you buy me a crown? Oh my, 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 oh my, my, my. I'm leveled up, and this is my world now. This is my world now. So anyone who tried to write me off, tell them they can go and write this down. This is my world now. New look, got the ladies shook. New watch saying it's my time. These magazines wanna feature me, cause they know I'm on the rise. Get the attention, I'm on a mission. Cause ever since I flipped that switch, my power can't be denied. Oh my, 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 oh my, my, my. Call me a king, buy me a crown. Oh my, 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 oh my, my, my. I'm leveled up, and this is my world now. This is my world now. So anyone who tried to write me off, tell them they can go and write this down. This is my world now. Get the attention, I'm on a mission. Man with a vision. Got a passion, making it happen. Ready for action. And this is my world now. This is my world now. So anyone who tried to write me off, tell them they can go and write this down. This is my world now. So anyone who tried to write me off, tell them they can go and write this down. This is my world now. And this is my world now. And this is my world now. And this is my world now. This is my world now. Hey! Here we go! We're coming, ready or not. You better steady yourself, because we're raising some hell. There's nothing keeping this roof from blowing off. We're taking over the town. Hit the switch and shut it down. Like Indian, we're electric, never stop. We're coming, ready or not. We're coming, ready or not. We're giving all that we got. We're giving all that we got. We're coming, ready or not. We're throwing gas on the
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Our family started RVing a few years ago, and when I think about all those campfires and fishing trips and sporting events, these are memories that are going to last a lifetime. I want to help others do the same thing. Hi, I'm Kevin Smith, General Manager at the all-new Click It RV in Milton Freewater. People in this community are very familiar with this location and the great service they've always received. So the biggest question we get is, where is Keith? The great news is, Keith is still here.
I've seen a lot of changes. I've seen a lot of things come and go. Through all the changes that we have seen, one thing that has not changed for us is the quality of our service.
Buying an RV is a big purchase, but it should be a fun and happy experience. So whether it be in sales or service or parts, our mission is simple: be the best. From our team here at Click It RV in Milton Freewater, we invite you to come down and experience the difference.
Boy, we came in hot for this one, but a lot of drivers are coming in hot for what they could be in the last round of the first session for the eNASCAR Road to Pro iRacing Series. I'm out of breath, Terry Radford. That's Daniel Falkingham over there sitting in a hotel room with the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series hat on. Dan, oh, it's time to go Charlotte racing, and I'm out of breath.
Yeah, I'd say these last few minutes have summed up. It's been crazy. The craziest we've been going through to get this broadcast on is pretty much going to replicate the craziest we're about to see on the track tonight here for the final race of Round 1 in Road to Pro. Some guys below the cut line trying to get above it, and a lot of people that are above the cut line already trying to stay there and maybe get themselves locked in at the end of the night. One race, 100 laps to do it around the mile and a half of Charlotte Motor Speedway. I'm ready to go. I don't know about you.
I'm so ready to go. Jason Rockefeller is in Charlotte, North Carolina right now, which is why he's currently missing, potentially to go see some racing as he's out there scoping for a new home. It's good to have you here on LSR TV and FTN and all the places that you can find us, Facebook, YouTube, and I believe Twitch as well. There's a couple other places that I might be forgetting. It's good to have you for the final round of this session to lock the top 70 into round number 2 that will start in 1 month's time before we then push our way to contender for the road to $300,000. And, well, Dan, what would you do with $300,000?
I don't know. There's a lot of good reasons to do, and probably a lot of those reasons might be not so good reasons to use it. But definitely, right now, how my season's going right now in the Coke Series right now, I can't even think about $300,000 or even $100,000 at that. But definitely, that's what everyone is out here trying to chase that opportunity. I've been through this before, and I've been enjoying this entire season so far. What I've been able to do, be a part of you guys, And I'm really going to see everyone turn the wick up for this last race of round one before we really get to start turning the heat up when we get to round two in a month's time.
It's definitely going to be interesting to see what drivers come out here tonight that potentially puts themselves into this spot to go to the next round. There's a lot of drivers that are locked in. We locked a ton in at the last race that we did. We will now attempt to lock in the rest of them. There's some drivers on the cut line that might be in split 3 or split 4 that's not in this race, and you can see them on Y2 Media Group if you want to go watch them, or you can go watch Top Split with FTF. A lot of those drivers are competing against our split 2 drivers here this afternoon. You could definitely find all of the coverage. I see our timing just updated. We have cars on track here as the session has been up, and we are there. So we'll take you trackside momentarily. Momentarily meant right now, Dan, as the day racing has begun. Track temp could potentially be a factor here this afternoon. What do you think we're going to see as the 13 smacks the wall?
Yeah, I'm very intrigued to see what we're going to have out here tonight. Like I said, it's going to start in the broad of day, but probably, depending on how long this race goes, it's probably going to end towards twilight into the nighttime. And that's probably these starts are going to change quite a bit as this race goes on. The track's going to be changing. So you have to keep up with the track, keep up with your setup, and maybe if you can hit all those things right, you'll be parking in victory lane at the end of the night.
It's going to be a sweet time as we believe we're in qualifying time. There's the 43 is going to come out here. That's James Wenzel, who is technically, by iRacing standards, the 1 car here this afternoon. He has done well enough to put him iRating-wise as the number 1 driver in the session. He was atop of the practice chart in the 5 cars that potentially put a lap down here this afternoon. He's been rather quick throughout the week, and we've seen a lot of them post on social media, Dan. They have something here, and a lot of them have a lot to gain. Some of them have nothing to lose.
Yeah, and that's what's going to be so good about this race. Like, who's going to be aggressive and who's going to be very conservative, just trying to collect those points. Because if a lot of people are in a really good spot, they're going to go out and have some fun. But if some people are really tight on that cut line, they're definitely going to have to make some work, make some hay early on in this race, try to get those positions. So we don't know how this is going to turn out. Is this going to be a lot of cautions, or is this going to go green? I remember I was in top split last year here at Charlotte, final race of round 1. We went green all the way. So I'm very intrigued to see and just see how aggressive these drivers are going to get those points, because all your season work you've done so far, well, it's about to come to an end for round 1. If you haven't been able to make up those points, well, you're in a bad spot because you now only got 1 more race to get yourself locked in.
And you want to talk about people trying to find some wiggle room here this afternoon. James Wenzel just jumped to the top of the charts with a whopping 29.66. Not too far behind on Mitchell Hunt with a 67, a 68, a 68, a 68, and then a 69 is your top 6. There is quite literally 1/1000th of a second is separating these drivers inside the top 6. And then Justin Lowry throws down a 29.8. Wesley Parker jumps that with a 29.8 flat to an 8.3. Speed is at a premium, and for a lot of these drivers who are hitting the top of the charts here, they have been consistently the top of the charts all season long in Road to Pro. And I'm almost positive we're going to see the same thing here tonight. But one key that might play dividends as I went and raced a nice open race, 2 tires could potentially be the strategic call this afternoon, Dan, that could win somebody or punch their ticket to round 2.
Yeah, absolutely. My target strategy is not probably going to be very 100% because I don't got a lot of time screens. All I got is a laptop and this feed that we got in front of me. So I'm going to do my best to try to talk about most of the night how the strategy is going to work out. So I apologize for any mistakes. But anyway, you're ever seeing Dalton Task out here going out laying a lap time. Interesting to see what the strategy is going to be. But I think it's pretty much back to the standard of what we've seen this entire season, except Darlington 2 weeks ago. We should be able to go 50 laps on gas. And you're going to be splitting it right down the middle, 100-lap race, hit at lap 50 if you go green, and just running out just like that. I think you might be a little tight on fuel, but with how much off-throttle time we're going to have here once we get into the race, everyone should have no problem being able to go 50-50.
So a lot of these drivers are potentially going to go home not necessarily empty-handed, right? Because they gain the experience that comes with this series and running in it, the pressure that comes behind it. For drivers who sit on that cut line and potentially find themselves on the outside looking in, what advice do you give them as we take a look at Philip Groner? What advice are you giving them to say, hey, come back next year, let's see where it takes us?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if I'd be best to speak on this, because I was very fortunate enough to run this thing last year, pretty much go through it in my first go. But I was very close and right on the edge of the cut line so many times throughout the last year doing this deal. So the best advice I can say is, even if it may not have been your year this year, then that's all right. It just wasn't meant to be. Just come back stronger next year. Because like what you mentioned, all the stuff that you may have learned this year, like how to race other people, like how to work with your team. You've learned all those different things as Brad Newman gets on the wall here. You learned all these different things, all these different strategies and whatnot that will help you for future endeavors. So definitely, it may not be your night tonight. You've always got next year when we return to Daytona next February.
That is absolutely accurate, as it could be somebody's night. You take a look at Tyler Goff right there, currently 32nd, not necessarily the qualifying spot that he was looking for in the raceepi.com, number 17. It happens here off of turn number 4, where, you don't necessarily get the best run. You try to push the issue quite a bit. I figured that out in the Xfinity car. I just sailed it in there, and yeah, it sticks or it doesn't. You never know. I will tell the people, if you were watching, we came in very hot to this broadcast, really, really hot. So I do apologize for any technical difficulties. We are now gridding, and we are 100% ready to go. I'll walk you through from start to finish here for the 34 drivers that qualified here this afternoon for the final round of round 1 for the eNASCAR Road to Pro qualifying iRacing series. James Wenzel starts on pole position with Connor Euroshak to his outside. Row 2, you're going to find Mitchell Hunt and Michael Venable. Row 3 is going to find Philip Groner and Matthew Backby. Starting back there on row number 4, Robbie Vrabel Jr. and Craig Jansak. Rounding out that top 10 here this afternoon, Christopher Hill and Eddie Kerner. Row number 6, Daniel Smallwood and Will Cooley. You got Seth Ryder and Daniel Nanny back there in row 7. Row 8, Jackson Crowder and Ben Badford in the 7. Row 9, you'll find Johnny Avila and Spencer Koshowitz. Mouthful. Top 20, Kyler Wynn and Dallas Patska. Outside that top 20 is where you're going to find Jack Coyne and Wesley Parker. Row 12, River Hayes and Rule Alvis. Row 13, Matthew Swack and Justin Lowry. Coming back here to row 14, Nate Stewart and Dalton Collins. Your top 30, Justin Bartolo and Brad Newman. And your final 4 starters here this afternoon, Austin Johnson with Tyler Groff. And your final 2 this afternoon, Tommy Gossett and Trayton Lapovich. That is a look top to bottom for your starting grid in the eNASCAR Road to Pro qualifying iRacing Series round 1. You take a look there at that beautiful number 43. Were you nervous, Dan, last year in this position as you were fighting tooth and nail to get in?
I definitely nervous. I wasn't booked in. I have that comfortable points cushion, which is all I could ask for, considering how my season went in round 1 last year. So definitely, if I'm these drivers who was in my same position last year, all they got to do is just relax. Keep your head down, get your game face on. It's time to go racing.
It is definitely time to go racing, as we're going to take a drive around the wonderful Charlotte Motor Speedway as well. A lot of these drivers are nervous. We take a look at the KC Kaufman creative weather conditions. 76 degrees air temp, partly cloudy with wind speeds at 5 to 6 miles per hour, and the track temp is a cool, crisp 80 degrees. I wish I had that in the PRL yesterday, but it's about 113 and slick as I'll get out. We'll go through 3 and 4. It is time to go racing. The nerves are here. The panic has set in for some of these drivers. It's put up or shut up time to end round number 1. Who locks in? Only one way to find out. Stay tuned right here on FTN and LSR TV. Pace car is off. Green flag is coming for James Wenzel. He's hard. We're racing at Charlotte.
So far, it looks like a clean start down the back straightaway. James Wenzel getting away, Connor Euroshak right there in P2, and they're getting side by side here further back of the pack. Everything nice and clean as we lead lap number 1.
A lot of raciness in the mid-pack, but it was no challenge up front as James Wenzel pulled away from Connor Euroshak for a tune of 0.2 of a second. He got on that pedal really fast in the restart zone, starting to settle out. Tire saving could be a major factor here. As you look at here, it is a conveyor belt on the bottom. Not a whole lot of cars trying the outside. As now here we go, a little tandeming on the bottom as Robbie Vrabel Jr. gives the shot to the 11 of Philip Groner. Outside low lane, which one you taking early on in this race, Dan?
Feel like right now you want to pin it on that blue line, try to paint the line as best you can. That would give you maybe just a little bit of grip that you might need to put run right through the center of the corner. You know, probably just going to be able to save your tires much more. It's going to be all about tire management if this is going to be a long run where we're going to go maybe 50 laps, maybe even longer. But these guys maybe trying to rip around the bottom, or if they want to try to get track position early, try to rip it around the top, because I think you're able to work some pretty good different lanes at this time of the day here at Charlotte. So we're love to see further into this race like what lines are going to be the best.
Battle for the lead happening now. Here comes Connor Euroshak to the bottom. James Wenzel goes to the outside lane. New leader cautions out. Cautions out right when Connor Euroshak in the number 31 machine takes the race lead. It happens a little bit further on in the back of the pack. But what a time to take the lead. He ran a 30.66 to take it to a 30.83. I think tire saving there for the one machine. We'll take a look at the replay here. Go way back in the pack. I believe that is Tommy Gossett. That is Tommy Gossett checking up, wrecking in front of him. He didn't start this wreck. They started in front, or maybe he finished it. He finished it. Car came and cleared themselves, and hard into the wall he goes. Night over for Tommy Gossett in the number 80 machine. Not the way he wanted to go, as the 33. My mistake, it is a sim stamp number. The 33 will finish 34th this afternoon. And I would assume that he is not going to advance into round 2 here this afternoon. We're under caution for the first time. This would be a great opportunity to step aside. We'll see you right after this commercial break.
At Click It RV, we know there's a lot of heritage and history at this location. RV sales and service has been part of this community for decades. We knew there was an incredible opportunity here, but to see where we've come in just a year is incredible. None of it would be possible without the patronage and support from this community. So whether it be a more convenient and accessible service drive, a fully stocked parts department, or this amazing sales facility, what drives this team daily is making sure our customers leave here with the best possible experience.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to the Charlotte Motor Speedway. I'm Terry Radford, joined alongside the driver of the number 54 Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota Camry in the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series. And this is the road to pro. This is your chance to make it there, to race with Daniel Falkenham and all the amazing drivers over there that race on Tuesday nights. This is so much fun to do, as caution number 1 has played havoc on this afternoon. So here's what is going to be fun. Do we see caution flags continue to raise on here this afternoon? As you go back to the cut line here, right? So Connor Euroshak sits 68th. Matthew Barr, Will Cooley, Holzer, Groner, Matheson, Lee, Lowry, Hill, Kuntz all have a chance, and so does James Wenzel, to get into this. Puts 40 points all the way back to Chris Wetz. He is 57 back. This is without the drop. Pace cars down. Green flag comes back in the air. We're racing once again at the Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Very good jump from Mr. Euroshak right there. I believe that fits 114 coming through to P2. James Wetzel's going to fall back another spot if they're starting on the pole. Trying to get back down in line. At the top 3 are single file, and they're side by side from P4 on back. They rip off turn number 2. And there's scope because it looks like we're having some more moves down the back straightaway from Mr. Groner on James Wetzel.
James Wetzel finds himself 79th in the points, 40 outside of the cut line that's currently held by Will Cooley. That is a 1-point difference him and James Holzer have on each other. Philip Groner sitting back here. He is currently 72nd in the points, 8 points off. This is a tune of we will not know when we leave here, and I hope we don't leave until the points are updated on Ashburn points, who makes it in. It is literally a 57-point difference of who makes it in and who does not. This is going to be wild, as all it takes for Will Cooley to lock in 403 points. That cannot be scored in one singular race. It is going to be fun as we do all the math. I feel like this is an election season, and I feel like somebody from one of the major news organizations that we're trying to pinpoint who does what. As now here comes the battle for second. Mitchell Hunt takes a look underneath James Wetzel. Every spot lost, Dan, is a point gone.
Yeah, well, actually, it's actually several points. This ain't going to be like split 2, where split 2 is going to be a little bit different in points. But compared to like the round 1 points, how they work, it depends. Like you may score several hundred points, and then you maybe lose a spot. That's worth maybe like 18 to 20 points or somewhere around there. So even losing a spot is very, very crucial for your points total here at the end of the night. So you really cannot give up any sort of spot compared to, say, if you lose a spot, you only lose 1 point. But in this points format here for round 1, it's a little bit different. So going to allow these guys, they're going to be way more aggressive to try to keep those points, keep those positions.
There's a couple drivers in here. We got a damaged vehicle that has come down the pit lane. The 30 machine of Jack Coyne comes in here, and Jack Coyne, as I go through the point standings, I don't see Jack Coyne's name on here. Just kidding, he's 19th. He is locked. He does not count. The top 17 have locked their way in. It is almost an assumption that Jack Coyne is going to make it in. Him falling out without the drop week is fairly impossible. The same goes for Burrows, Kwame Scott. A lot of these drivers have put themselves in a good position. What we're looking at, and Tommy Gossett, I misspoke. Tommy Gossett is 46th. He needed 303 points to stay locked. He's 101 spot above the cut line. So Tommy Gossett could potentially fall if any of these drivers go out and put crazy amounts of numbers on this board and get it going. We still look at the battle for the lead. Mitchell Hunt, he just took it. So new race leader Carnell Juroshak falls back to second. Now third as Robbie Vrabel Jr. takes it down the back.
Yeah, more side-by-side action. But, yeah, like you said, Tommy Gossett, whatever happened in that first yellow, looked like he got stuck in the barrels down there at the end of the pit lane. That's not what he needed for his point position. He needed better hope a lot of people around him have some bad nights, too, because with his spot in the points, like I was talking about before, you are never safe. If you are near that point, you may only be like 100 points up, maybe be 50 points above the line. You are never safe if you're in a situation like that. So, Mr. Tommy Goss is going to be counting his blessings here for the next 86, 85 laps.
He's officially out of the race. So fans of Tommy Gossett, he is no longer in this race. He will finish 34th. So he needs to be watching all of his competition in split 1 and in split 3 and keep up with 4, keep up with split 5. All of the people around him in the points he needs to keep an eye on. There's drivers like Nate Stewart. It's assumption that he's going to jump Tommy Gossett here as long as he stays on this racetrack and a good spot above him. It's the same thing that goes to a lot of these drivers of Alex Kalanick, one of the eNASCAR College Series drivers. He has to keep above that. There's a ton of people in this race that's fighting for the cut line. I wish I could go through it all. Carnell Juroshak, he's 68th in the points. He's in third right now and hoping to continuously either stay at bay or to come up and win this race. You are almost a lock if you win it, Dan, but you're not necessarily a lock if you finish outside the top 10, top 15.
Yeah, like I said, like Nate Stewart, he had a big points haul last race at Darlington, but he started way out back around in the very mid to high 20s. So he has his work out for to try to get through this field without trying to get any major damage, try to build on his points. Like he got a good points buffer after 2 weeks ago, but that don't mean he's safe. Just like the issue like we were talking about with Tommy Gossett, with his situation now that he's out of the race, just the points, they're going to be ever changing every single lap. From split 1 to split 5, like you mentioned. What's so great, just watching this point system, and we'll see what's going to look like at the end of the night.
It is going to be one of the most interesting things that we do, right? We're going to see so many positions change. I wish we had live timing, as this is round 8 of 8. There is no coming back from this if you don't necessarily put a good finish. We have 100 laps, 100 circuits around here. We're 20 in. As you look at Christopher Hill, he is starting to put a little bit of a slide on it. He's currently sitting 6th. So Christopher Hill's up 3 spots on the low side. He just got around Daniel Smallwood for that position. Eddie Kerner rides there in 8th with Venable and Kyler Wynn sitting 10th. So split 2 has a lot of heavy hitters in this race. You are not a lock because you're in split 2. Split 1 could be something totally big. It could just blow us out of the water. You'll have to look at FTF for that coverage. Put us both on both screens because this is going to be big on who makes what. Who makes it into the top 70, who can do the best job here this afternoon. Wow. I mean, the points are very close. I didn't get a chance to look at them today. Normally, I get to study the notes, Dan. I didn't get off of work until 8:40 Eastern Standard Time, and, well, I didn't know we had a show tonight. I forgot until I got a tweet.
Yeah, I'm in your boat, too. I've been traveling all day because I've got a 6 a.m. flight to Charlotte in the morning, heading to the Charlotte Motor Speedway for a good Coke 600 weekend. So I've been busy planning that trip. I was fully committed to doing this broadcast tonight, but I don't got the normal information I usually have, like when I'm back home. So I'm trying to just putting my hand in the Max hat, as we say, and just hope just something good comes out of it. Just trying to give you all the best information I can. But right now, all these guys put on a great show for us. Everybody was doing all the work for us, I would say.
Well, it's funny because normally they say in the broadcasting side of things is your best shows is your unprepared shows because you go in blind and you just talk like a fan. Let's talk like fans here tonight. This is round 8. This is the final round for this. You see smoke on the racetrack. There are drivers that have gotten loose here this afternoon. You see the side-by-side battle going on right here to the outside. We're seeing, pull that up. It's Eddie Kerner that's fighting here. To the bottom, you got Christopher Hill. So the outside lane starting to play dividend. We got 3 wide, trying to form up here for the battle for the 5th place position. Now 6th because Groner got around, Wenzel got around. There's a ton of drivers at this moment that's fighting to get to this top 5 that potentially are fighting for their dear life.
Yeah, we got
a battle for second.
Yeah, we got battle with Robbie Verbal and who's that in the 5 track? So I figured all these. Oh, that's Robbie Verbal. That's probably Euroshack going by Robbie Verbal Jr. These sensitive numbers are still confusing me so much. But yeah, the nice little battle right there. That's an even out as that's Brad Newman off the pace. That's going a lap down. Was involved in one of those rights that Tim and Tommy got were involved. So just getting through that mess right there. But yeah, lap 25 runs to complete quarter distance here.
Robbie Vrabel Jr. finds himself 102nd in the points as it's 141. And it's the cut line on 7 starts, not the season that the 24 machine wanted. He's currently sitting 3rd. You talked about the point standings. If a lot of people have some bad luck and Robbie Vrabel Jr. shocks us and wins this race, well, we're talking about a total different story. Once the points are updated and the splits are over, we will keep you updated. If split 2 finishes before split 1, we will I will radio style partially of that finish to try to give the people who are watching over here on LSR TV and FTN that coverage. As you look at the battle for now, the race lead is here comes Connor Euroshack to take it. He goes to the low side. Mitchell Hunt has sort of kind of burned the stuff up. It was a 31.64 to a 31.56. Connor Euroshack starting to drive through this field as well. We talked about Connor Euroshack's kind of situation. He's 68th. He cannot lose a ton of spots. He needs to control his own destiny, Dan, and stay up front because winning will guarantee you a spot. Finishing outside that top 10 will not.
Yeah, the Euroshack, he needs a big night tonight. Doesn't need to be flashy, but right now with him being in the lead, it's the easiest thing he can do. Just go out and win this deal, which will help his points tremendously. Pretty much just solidify him in round 2. I really look at Christopher Hill here, riding in the P5 spot. Looks like trying to battle with old Robbie Verbal Hero that's on the outside lane. Side-by-side battle for 3rd, going into 1.
Yeah, Robbie Vrabel Jr. He could have a big night, but he's gonna need some help. He's gonna need a lot of people in front of him to kind of crap the bed just a tad bit to get him in here. We'll highlight some of these drivers throughout this night. We'll go talk Philip Groner for a second, who's currently sitting back in the 8th place position right at this moment. He also needs a big night as he's currently sitting 72nd in the points. He's got Will Cooley, who's gonna need a little bit of a fall as Will Cooley's currently sitting 13th. He needs to go up and push as hard as he can as Cooley does sit 70th, right on the money 70th. I'm almost positive this is without the drop week that we currently have in here. If we need the drop, this is going to be a headache. Will Cooley has 3 top 10s, no top 5s, no wins, no poles, right? So now what we have to hope for is Will Cooley pulls a little bit out of here. For Philip Groner, in his case, he needs Will Cooley to keep slipping down this running order, and he needs to continuously track the climb to go up.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Like Will Cooley, he has not had the season that he would have liked. As you mentioned those stats there, it's been a little rough go for him, but right now, even early on in this Road to Pro season, it ain't all about the wins. It ain't all about like the top 3s, like all the podiums. It's just constantly finishing, getting good results, consistent finishes that gets you to your goal, top 70 at the end of Charlotte. So right now, for Will Cooley, just keep running his race, try to maybe pick off a few more guys, and just try to solidify your points. There could be guys that are below him in points that are running better than him that could honestly just take him off the top spot or off the hot seat just like that.
You're absolutely right. This is to essentially, well, make or break a lot of these drivers. And what intrigues me the most about looking at the eNASCAR Road to Pro standings is if you scroll all the way down, if you're following along with us, right? Jack Coyne currently sitting 19th in the standings. He's plus 315 from the cutoff line, right? And he's got 6 starts with a pole. He's got a top 5 and 4 top 10s. And while we think he is safe, we could assume that points to lock, it's 89. All he needs is 89 points. We can assume he makes that. And then you scroll, Dalton Collins is almost a lock. Anthony Burrows, unless they necessarily just, they have a bad night. But when you get around I would honestly say once you got around 33rd, 171 above the cut line, if you have a bad night, and not just a bad night, but a Tommy Gossett night, where you wrecked early in this race, you're 30 laps down, you're out of this race. Dalton Collins is the same way, had a bad night on pit road, out of this race. If everybody else overperforms and overachieves, Dan, you could technically be on the outside looking in.
Yeah, and I exactly know where you're coming from, because I was in the same spot last year, like where I was only maybe 100 or so points above the cut line. Like, I had one of the most miserable starts to round 1 last year, where I was so far down in the points, I had to freaking crank out top 5 after top 5 after top 10 to just even get myself in a spot to get back above the cut line. And boy, that was stressful enough, because it feels like these first 3 races, you have so many bad races, it can take a shot at your confidence, take a shot at your mental, kind of having like a mental boom moment per se. But thankfully, I was able to stay in it, and I was able to finally crank out the good finishes I was able to, that I know me and my team were able to accomplish. So I was very thankful for that. So a lot of these guys are in that same spot. They gotta have that same mentality to just stay in it, keep your head down. It can be easy to give up, but at the end of the day, just keep your head down, put in the work, and all of the results will come just like it did for me last year.
A lot of these drivers are trying to put in the work. Once again, we'll know the points at the end as you take a look at Daniel Nanny, who is there in the 10th place position. Him and Seth Ryder are fighting out for that spot as Daniel's going to go ahead and get by and clear that spot to move him into the top 10. A lot of these drivers who knew they had nothing to lose coming into this final race was just here to have fun. And a lot of these drivers were the top split drivers that went ahead and called it. Seth DeMerchant's locked in. Briar LaPrade has a chance to get to the Coke Series again and get to contender to race a second season. Navarro, Ray Alfala, 4-time champion, had to race his way in. He's 4th in the points. He's solidified his way. Agnell Phillip, a guy that I know very well over from the RSR competition. Kenny Brady put himself in there. Logan Helton, Michael Frisch, Kyler Wins in this race. Doesn't have to be. Could have took the night off. Could have had a good old time. He's sitting 13th. Didn't need to be here. Just keeping other people out is necessarily their biggest key. Jonathan Delaney, Pfeffer, Kemp locked in coming in here. We would have assumed that Daniel Buttafuoco was locked in coming into this. He's 18th. He needed 83 points to lock himself in, Dan. Not a whole lot he's going to lose. So we're 40 laps in. We've had 1 caution flag. These drivers have not pitted yet. What are you doing in this situation? Where's your strategy at?
Yeah, with that early caution, it definitely, I think, helped those guys with fuel. I don't know really how close these guys were on fuel. I think they were just barely good enough to make it, but I think with that caution definitely helps their case. Now they can easily go to 50 laps, pit right there, and then just cut it all away and just hope they go green. But now it's just deciding how late you want to pit, you maybe try to go as long as you can. There may have been a few people in the back that we didn't see that maybe came in, topped off on fuel, probably maybe go longer, maybe catch a magically timed yellow. All those things to think about. But let's go back to the point situation. I know you've been talking about the points. I want to go back to Seth Ryder back here in 11th. Seth Ryder, he is in a very, very tough spot tonight because he was 75 points out coming in. And I will say he's had a pretty good season. It's just a lot of luck really hasn't gone his way. He's been on the come up here as of late. He tweeted out earlier today, this is game 7, trying to see if he can swing for the fences, swing one out of the park, see if he can break himself in a round 2. He's definitely had the pretty good speed all year long. It's just a lot of keeping confident going his way. And just hoping he can lock in round 2. And maybe see if he can make up all those points. But a lot of people maybe having issues. But, something that's funny where we mentioned how you mentioned Daniel Buttafuoco earlier. He is actually not in his home rig tonight. He's up in the top split. That will be broadcasted on FTF. He's racing from somewhere else. He had some issues with his PC. He's not racing at home. He's racing somewhere else. This is the kind of stuff that you just pray does not happen. Especially on nights like these where you're not fully locked in. To have some issues like that where you're having to go to other places to race somewhere else, try to find your second option. Those are the stuff that you just dread, that you just hope does not happen. But unfortunately, Dan was a victim of that tonight. But right now, he's running fairly decent in the top split. All these continues to have a decent run. He's in round 2. But just Terry, I can't tell you enough. That kind of stuff just scares me. Having an instance like that.
I tell you something that scared me, and I actually missed it, and I apologize as a broadcaster that I did not see a big story that happened in this race. The driver who is 48th in the point standings right now, Nate Stewart, and I believe this is calculated, and I'll make sure I'm right, is after the drop week would be where their standings are if they drop the race that we thought that they would drop. Puts them in one position. Nate Stewart is currently sitting at this moment points-wise. I got to find him again. There's a ton of people in these point standings. Scrolling. He is... Oh, points-wise, where is he at? Come on, Nate Stewart, I got to find you. Nate Stewart in the points is 48th with his drop week 48th. He is 30th right now. Caught the wall at some point in time, got collected in some type of issue. I missed that. I apologize that I missed that. This is a massive story. The Rise Esports driver could potentially miss round 2. He was only 90 points above that cut line. This is a massive, and I actually spoke to Mamba Smith at Darlington, and we talked Nate Stewart. So Nate, if you watch this race, I talked to you. I talked to the owner of the team, the boss man over there, and I said Nate Stewart needs good luck. Good luck didn't happen, Dan. He's 30th, and this could mean trouble.
Yeah, I didn't realize that he was in an incident earlier. Well, I guess we're about to find out what happened right here. So as he going to green 4, I don't know who that is in the 17. So like I said, all these numbers keep messing me up here. But just take a look at the replay, just riding in line down the front straightaway. And don't know if he's going to make a look to the inside here. Just waiting to see what happened. We know he missed that earlier wreck. He missed that first caution with Tommy Gossett and others. But you're seeing the replay. Oh no!
Oh,
what?
My goodness.
No, that's a wheel issue. You see, if you saw his front tires are pointed straight to the left. I think his wheel disconnected. Mind you, this is also another story. Nate Stewart, he's also not racing from home tonight. He's up in Charlotte, getting ready for the Charlotte weekend, for the NASCAR weekend, and he's racing at another person's house. And there's just a wheel failure. I have no idea what's going on there. But like I told you, Terry, I just said this earlier, these are issues you just dread. You just hope that they don't happen. And look, what I'm just talking about, and there we go, prime example.
Well, that is my fault. Once again, I do apologize for that. I should have noticed that when I looked up my timing screen. I did not see a massive story from this race happening. And this can't be understated here. Huge, and I mean huge blow Tommy Gossett was sitting 46th in the point standings. Nate Stewart was sitting 48th in the point standings without all of the calamity that's happening around us here. Nate Stewart hasn't had the season that he wanted. He's got 1 top 5, 2 top 10s, and tonight, on top of his drop week already, could potentially put him out as you take a look at Eddie Kerner right here. Halfway to the finish, you're still live here. Pit stops have started to occur. Wesley Parker, Austin Johnson, the 29 and the 12, both came down pit road. They are both in. You see them on there now as Wesley Parker misses his pit stall. Wow. I mean, this is... You couldn't write this in a movie, Dan, of what we're seeing when it comes to the ebbs and flows of round 1.
It always seems to be it's an ongoing occurrence. Like, we have all these big moments, and when it gets down to the nitty-gritty, they all just end up exploding at the end. It just all comes unraveled. So, and just to think, we're only halfway through the race. We've already got so many stories going on, and we got more people pitting. Watch out, Connor.
Oh, Connor, you're a shack.
Straight. I thought he was going to be nosing it into the pit wall. It'd be lucky if he didn't get caught speeding right there. But I think he's in good shape. Mitchell Hunt's down pit road. Justin Lowry and others are coming up pit road for service. Should be their final pit stop to go green in the end.
All right, I'll tell you right now, I'll give you a split 1 update. I know we're on split 2, but split 1 update. If you're not watching FTF's coverage, Andrew Navarro leads it. Locked. Boyd Hogan second. He is not a lock. Boyd Hogan finds himself deep in these points. Boyd would be all the way back. I keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling to find him 93rd. 100 points below the cut line. We could see that jump. Nicholas is in the 9. He's up there. Alfala's locked in. Boyd's outside, and I love the color caution. I wish we would have done that too, of who's locked in, who's not. What an incredible job from FTF. I hope they hear this. That is fantastic. Hayden Hurst in the 20th. He's outside looking in. He's running 5th. Seth the Merchant, Bitts, Phillip locked in. Crawford and Max Brady, who is low in the points, needs a strong run as your top 10. There is a lot going on. Pit stops here. We'll go back to split 2 coverage as we're watching here. Pit stops. Christopher Hill comes in. That leaves Royal Alves, and Trayton Lapovich stays out. Every one of the other leaders are in. 2 are out on the racetrack. Smart move or dumb move for the 4 and the 16 right there, Dan.
That's them, simply just them maybe trying to go off strategy, trying to catch a caution. I wasn't sure if they pitted early on the only yellow we've had so far.
They pitted on lap 5.
Yep, so they probably decided to come on, just take a top off, take a splash of fuel, and trying to go long as you see people coming off pit road. Something I haven't talked about yet, this is a very, very tricky pit road to get off of, because the apron seems to be very, very narrow. There's a little bit of banking on the apron, and then there's the flat right on the apron coming off the pit road. And it's very easy to clip that blue line, give yourself a black flag, and unsafe pit entrance, or a pit exit, excuse me. So it's very tricky to get through there, but thankfully I think everyone so far has negotiated that very, very well.
It will be interesting to see, and I will challenge our producer on this one. Color coordination will be massive. Oh,
watch out!
The 4 almost lost it as he is the race leader. Net gain of 23 spots. He's praying for the caution, but Dan, he damn sure ain't praying to be the caution.
Yeah, he's about to be the caution. He might have helped himself, but he said, yeah, that's enough. We're going to pit road, get some 4 fresh Goodyear tires on there. And here comes Trayton Lapovich right behind him. Yep, so I think that's going to round out our green flag pit cycle. With Connor Euroshak going to be resuming the race lead here, as we are going to be coming to complete lap 57 this time by.
Oof. That was nerve-wracking. I hear that we're set up for color coordination. It'd be cool if we turned that on today and uploaded the points, because your boy is over here scrolling through 3 different screens to get what we have here. Connor Euroshak takes this as James Wenzel puts the fastest lap of the race down. I talked about James Wenzel's point strategy. It is simple for that driver. He's 40 points out. Good finish. Strong finish. He's 4th. Looks like we're having a good night so far. We keep it there. He potentially comes into this. If you're watching Split 1 and Split 2 and you're trying to keep up with all the points, I'll tell you, it's a bit of a handful. Trying to watch 2 races, the timing screen and point standings, I don't recommend it. I was late to the party. I would have then had this done. As you take here at the 28 of Johnny Avila, sorry, I'm off today. He's running 11th. You see this little battle going on behind. Dan, do we see another caution?
I'll tell you what, it's been one of them nights where it seems like anything can happen. Right now, I think everyone right now is just content to just get to the end of this race right now because everyone's single file around the bottom, trying to manage their tires, trying to manage their gap. And we got a few guys blinking here too. Well, we don't want that to happen. Have some sort of major incident come across here, but yeah, I think everything right now it's super far calm, cool, collected. But I know we've said that before that we've had a caution come out, so I don't want to trigger that old commentator's curse, as they might say. But yeah, so far we have completed 60, 40 to go. Still, Terry, anything can happen in this race, and I'm very appreciative of you having all these points covered because I'm just sitting here, just calling the action. You are doing all the heavy lifting here tonight.
Well, it's my job, right? Is Raul Aves. We were just talking about him running in 11th. He goes all the way back to, he's 103rd in points, 141 outside the cut line. Big night. Could put him there. He's got a win. Raul has that win in a different split. Puts him up there. 7 starts, 1 win, 1 top 5, 2 top 10s. He came up to this split. Now here he finds himself as, I believe, battle for the race lead. I am correct. There's Conor Euroshak getting passed by Christopher Hill, who is on 2 lap pressure tires. Mark it down here on lap 62. They pitted on lap 52 and 54 for your race leader. That could be a big story. Does Christopher Hill save his tires enough? And I'll find him in the point standings as well, because this could end up being a story of an outsider getting their way in. Conor Euroshak's doing what he needs to do. He's sitting 68th in points, 56th, I believe, with a drop week. He's pretty good. Christopher Hill, he finds himself 54th currently in these points, 50 points above the cut line. He's leading it. Will Cooley, a driver we talked about on the cut line, he's sitting 15th. This is not the night he needs because James Holzer, if I look over at the other split, I believe he's sitting 17th. So you got a guy in 14th who's looking to jump his, or to go. If you're James Holzer, you don't want to watch over here and see this, as Philip Groner's in this conversation as well. He's 72nd, 8 points behind the cut line. Groner's doing everything he needs to do to jump Will Cooley.
Yeah, I'm talking about all these guys, like James Holzer, first man out on the outside looking in. Right now, as I have got the top split broadcast beside me too, ain't having the greatest of nights either. So
no,
definitely the pressure, it's as the laps start ticking away, the pressure is going to start building. You start thinking a lot more, like just where anything can go wrong. It's getting to that point of the race where it's crunch time.
Yeah, if the spotters or crew chiefs are watching split 2 and where you necessarily put the other driver that's racing you, if you're James Holzer, I know James Holzer, very talented driver. He's had 1 top 10. He has not had the luck that he necessarily needs, but if he gets to round 2, my goodness, he could be a driver, Dan, that we look at in the second round as we cover it here on FTF or FTN and LSR TV. We could be talking about Holzer into contender. We could be talking James Wetzel into contender, and a lot of these drivers just haven't had the luck that they necessarily wanted or needed. As Wetzel is 40 points out, he's having the run he needs, but the rest of the competition around him needs some bad luck to follow as well. Man, as Holzer fell to 18th, so Holzer's 18th now in that race. He doesn't need to see the drivers around him in the points outshining him by quite a ton.
Yeah, like this is what this format creates now, where you have only a few races compared to like what we had even back in 2020, was the last time where we ran had a long road to pro season that lasted the whole year. We had 13 or 14 races before we went to the Contender Series. But now it's pretty much the same amount of races, just split up into 2 rounds. So you pretty much got to get it done in just 2 different stints. So there's not many races to pick up a lot of spots as we see Kyler win. And you got heavy nose damage. Not sure where that came from, but definitely losing spots on the racetrack. I saw him up in 12th place just a few laps ago. And he seems to be falling back with all that nose damage. Not sure what happened there. We'll have to go back and see what happened if we're able to find it.
Good part of Kyler Wynn's situation, he gives no craps. Where he finishes here tonight, he knows he's moving to round 2 here this afternoon as he sits in the locked-in spot. So Kyler Wynn, if you're a fan of Kyler Wynn, he is solidified in his position. That cannot be said for a lot of other drivers in this, as we're 30 laps to go. And we got 44 to go over in top split, so we will not know points probably before we leave the air unless we get a ton of cautions and split 1 passes us, and split 3, I believe, is right on par with us. They might be give or take a couple laps. If somebody could update me, we're going to take a look at the replay here, Dan.
Let's take a look at what happened. Looks like that's Kyler Wynn battling with the 5 and the 30.
There it is.
5 gets a little bit loose, and I think, that's all she wrote. And there's not even look like that big of a hit, but it just killed Kyler Wynn's front end, and that's just the way the damage model is on these trucks. Even ever so light contact, or probably pretty good contact too. It's just you get that kind of damage, your race is pretty much done. So now for Kyler Wynn, but thankfully his point position, it don't matter for him. He was out here, maybe see if he could get a win on the night. But unfortunately, it's probably not going to be the case, as we see Eddie Kerner going up for P3. Eurojack, he's been falling back a little bit up here leading this race. And I don't know if he just made a wrong adjustment, or unless he just doesn't have the pace with the track changing, continuing through this race. Track time's going down, it's getting closer to nighttime. Not sure that 31 is starting to fall off a little bit, Terry.
Eddie Kerner sitting currently 34th in the points, 171 above the cut line. Daniel Smallwood has moved himself up to the 2nd place position. He finds himself 41st in the point standings, 133 above the cut line. This is the night a lot of these drivers wanted. It's a lot of what they expected coming in here this afternoon. We talked and touched on Connor Euroshak as well. He's there. He's in. He's only in by 9. These points mean a lot. He still is outshining some of the drivers that are below the cut line, trying to put themselves in to this. And if he can just hang on here for 26 more laps, Dan, he's more than likely going to make it in by the skin of his teeth.
And that's just sometimes that part of racing. That's probably what it's going to come down to. Just those ever few points, and just think if someone misses by just a few points, or maybe 10, 15, 20 points, it's always that you always have the what if factor. Like say in one previous race, what if I did this differently? Or what if I shouldn't have made this move, or whatever. It's those kind of things that you start to think about if you are on the outside looking in, just all the what ifs you have to answer.
There's a lot of unknowns that's going to follow here. There's a lot of unknowns as you look at Philip Groner. He is unknowing that currently the guy that's in front of him in the point standings is not having the night that he wanted. He only has 6 starts. This makes start number 7. A lot of people in front of him have had all 8 starts that have put out here. So Philip Groner is coming from behind. He was 82nd in the points with his drop week because he has 4 out of the 6 top 10 finishes. 1 top 5, 3 top 10s. That drop week's meant nothing. Puts him here. He's looking to add another top 10 to his resume to make it 5 for 7 this afternoon. Can he make it work as we're coming to lap 78? The points are ever changing as we flow, and that sounded like a Garth Brooks song because it was. Because the dream is like a river, ever changing as it flows. And a lot of these drivers who have had mechanical issues, whether on the racetrack or in the sim, well, That's how the cookie crumbles, as Nate Stewart still struggling but trying to find points, and he's been praying for a ton of cautions ever since he had his issue.
Yeah, for sure. Like the top split race, just they've been having a lot of caution-filled. It's been a caution-filled race up early on. They finally got a green flag run going up there. But for us, we've only had one yellow one back on like lap 3 or whatever, and now it's been green ever since. Pretty much everyone here, everyone's just content to just get to the end of this thing, take your points, and hopefully, if the points hopefully just shake out in your favor. And definitely going to be a lot of. Can't wait to see everyone be watching that point sheet after this race is all said and done.
Boy, I tell you we will, but I guess what? If you want to stay up to date with all of your stuff, it's ad read times as we didn't get a chance to do it. Scan the QR code if you're on your phone, come back, or go to eNASCAR.com. It is your portal to the iRacing news and updates from the greatest world of it. And while we're at it, I guess I'll go through all of them as well. If you're looking to join iRacing, iRacing.com, caution's out. Forget the ads. We'll do it under the caution flag. I asked if we were going to get a caution, Dan.
I'm telling you.
There it is. Caution 2.
This happens all the time. The commentators curve. We asked if there's going to be yellows, and look at that. We now got a caution once again, just like Darlington 2 weeks ago. We get a race-changing yellow flag, and this is really going to shake up the running order as we're getting down to the nitty-gritty, and now we have to throw one more wrench into it before this night is all said and done. I don't know what's going to happen here, but well, to take a little replay, I'm not sure what happened here, but Terry, it's never over till it's over. Just you think it's all said and done, and then one race-changing yellow. We see what happened here. It looks like Kyler Wynn running on the bottom. That's Ben Baffert, I believe, behind Kyler Wynn, trying to give him a little push there. As we go down to turn 1, oh, there's a Lincoln truck in front of him. I'm not sure who that is. Ben Baffert to the inside lane, riding in line. We're still waiting to see what happens. They come up to number 2. Ben Baffert going to the inside of Kyler Wynn. Seems like really nothing bad is happening so far. I guess we're going to find out into turn 3. And yeah, just a little bumper tag there going into turn 3. And Kyler Wynn spins it around to bring out the caution. And thankfully, nobody else hits it.
Cool. So I don't have to scan through all of my notes and find people who are in the points and not in the points. Kyler Wynn's locked in, doesn't care. He did his deal. He handled his business already. So don't have to look at it. Not a big momentum shifter this afternoon. Pit stops have definitely fell upon us. Everybody comes in. We know what they're doing. 4 tires and fuel. Make that last minute adjustment to make the truck faster. We'll finish the ad reads as well. It's there as we look at the pit stops. If you want to join iRacing, it's iRacing.com. 40% off gets you in the driver's seat to potentially be on the road to $300,000 through the eNASCAR Road to Pro Qualifying iRacing Series. You can maybe be on a broadcast with Daniel Buckingham and Terry Radford. Who knows? If you want to do it, you want to join LSR TV, come on over. We'd love to have you. Reach out to us on Facebook. Reach out to me personally on Twitter. It's at Terry Radford 4. Hit me up. We'll get you started in your home here this afternoon. That's all I've got ad read wise. I have nothing else to do on that portion. Other than that one is, Dan, we've only had 9 lead changes. Not a big deal. 6 caution laps with 2 cautions.
Yep, we're just coming down, working our second yellow tonight. Looks like there's been no crazy strategies to be had here. No 2 tires, none of that. Everyone's just getting their four fresh tires. Maybe make some short run adjustments. I probably don't fill it up all the way with fuel. Maybe shift some weight. Just now down to the nitty gritty, and this is where, if you weren't aggressive before, the pay window's open. It's time to turn up the wick a little bit.
Oh, yeah, you're aggressive now. An update over here, 29 coming to 28 laps to go in top split. Matt Danson leads it. Octavio Rondeletto runs second. I do not believe that Rondeletto has pitted yet. I didn't see it. Andrew Navarro, after he pitted, finds himself third with Boy Hogan, Nicholas, Kenny Brady, Bitts, Max Brady, Ray Alfala, Blaze Crawford. That's your top 10. It will not be your top 10 once Danson and Octavio Rondeletto pits. It will be Seth DeMerchant and Delaney will put themselves in the top 10. All of those drivers except for Boyd Hogan, is locked in or right on the cusp of being locked in top split. More points are paid out per the split that you're in. Split 1, higher pay window. Split 2, a good pay window. Split 3, it starts to go down all the way down to, I believe, split 7. Puts us in a different position. So we'll keep you up to date here. We're only a 6-lap difference between them, so the points should be rather quickly. Our post-race should be done, and the points should be updated as it gets in the spreadsheet, and we'll be, at this moment, on the same pace as them. I could give a personal plug for a second because, well, if you didn't get enough from me at Charlotte on Road to Pro, well, you can watch the iRacing special event on iRacing and RaceSpot, or iRacing tomorrow, as me and Dylan Coyle will do 600 miles of broadcasting around the Charlotte Motor Speedway for our, I believe, 4th special event this season.
Yeah, you have fun with that, Terry. I'll be down in Charlotte in real life, hopefully enjoying 600 miles of racing on Sunday. But the weather down in Charlotte this weekend ain't looking promising. So hopefully the weather stays away and I get to enjoy some good racing this weekend. But yeah, hopefully I get to see some racing because after all this past weekend, I got to get back home and get ready for a Coke race on Tuesday. So yeah,
you do.
Yeah, like we raced this Tuesday night. We raced Charlotte as well, but much different conditions. We're actually going to be racing in the heat of the day, at noon time, 1 p.m., hot in the day, very hot and slick racetrack. I think it's going to make for a really good race on Tuesday night.
Well, you set me up for a great plug. If you want to watch the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series, pre-show starts at 8:30. You can join the gang for their recap of 2 weeks ago. You can also catch them on their cap of what's going to happen at Charlotte. You can watch that on eNASCAR.live or twitch.tv/iRacing or any major place that iRacing is streamed. And I tell you what, under that caution, I had a nice sip of Coca-Cola Zero as the official fan refreshment of the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series. Pace car is off, 16 laps to go. Christopher Hill in the 15, set sail. He's gone.
Yeah, he set sail, all right. Got a several car lane lead as they make their way down to turn number 1. Daniel Smallwood there, he's going to get the second. Eddie Kerner, not the greatest restart from that front row. He's going to fall back to 3rd, going to fall back to 4th. Behind Jay Wetzel, and looks like maybe going to fall back to 5th. He barely cuts off Connor Euroshak to get down to the inside lane. He's going to settle right here in P4. But we got side-by-side battle for the final spot in the top 5.
Man, Dan, you set us up phenomenally coming out of the caution flag when you said flat out the pay window opens. This is when you might not have been aggressive in the early portion. You let the boys walk the dog on you up front. Now you got a shot. You're on equal footing. Caution number 3 waves over Charlotte Motor Speedway, and hopefully this doesn't make me dig through my notes again to find champion or Road to Pro implications for round 2 as Connor Euroshak sits in 5th. Take a look back here. What brought this out? Somebody with the blinkety issues. Well, that brought out our caution. There it is.
Trouble. Big trouble. Gets spun, disappeared, gets stuck. Oh, there you go. Stuck in the wall. Refuses to elaborate. We'll be seeing you.
I believe, if I am right, that's Craig Jansak. That is Craig Jansak that wrecked and is blinking. And I know that because it goes it goes blue and then it goes gray on me. I'll find him in the points here. Craig was sitting. He wasn't up at the top. We'll scroll to the bottom. See where Craig was at in these points. I'm not too sure he had much of a chance to get in here tonight, but there's always a chance at some point in time, right? Ha ha ha, producer. Can't find him. I won't make an assumption because that's kind of mean, but bad night to say the least here. A lot of these drivers were eliminated early on in the season due to connectivity issues or other issues that have happened, and bad luck does occur. And unfortunately, there for Craig Jansak, the final race of round one comes to a screeching halt as the connection issue caused an issue. Well, come green flag racing with 11 laps to go, Dan, if you're some of the people in the back, do you come in and take a set of tires? As you know, we're not necessarily on a ton of them on here, but is it advantage, just an advantage regardless?
I mean, it's tough to tell because now these guys are going to have one quick little heat cycle in their tires here, so I don't know how that's going to affect the grip levels. But I mean, if you're in the back, you got to try something. You got to get ultra aggressive, because if you're stuck in the back, you can't stay there for too long, especially if you're in a tight point situation. So you're going to have to start figuring something out if you're going to be able to try to get back to the field, try to get these points back, because we're, like I said, the pay window's open. We're getting down to the final 10 laps of this race, and considering how this race is going so far right now, I think we'll probably be finding out, considering how Top Split is still green with 16 to go. I think we might be able to get a full points rundown at the end of the night if it continues to go like this. So definitely we are not done anytime soon yet.
Yeah, I don't think we're done. We're going to come actually with a little less than that, because they'll take the 1 to go next time by. It'll be 10 laps on the dot. It is 15 laps to go as Andrew Navarro takes the race lead again. Yeah, so takes the race lead again, and their color coordination for the people that are watching both, and you don't see the pin, the guys in green are basically locked in. Yellow entered tonight above 70th in points. Orange were outside 70th but still have a mathematical shot to get in. The people that was in blue are no longer eligible to get in. So this sets us up into something totally different, because if I go down to Boyd Hogan, right, Craig Jansak, I'm sorry, I found him in the points. He was in a spot where he could mathematically get in. He was 89th in the points. Boyd Hogan is 93rd. And I say, and I bring Boyd Hogan's name up, Dan, because you're watching Top Split just as well as I am. Boyd Hogan's running second with a chance to beat Andrew Navarro with 13 laps to go. If he has a shot, and hell, even Blake McCandless had a shot if he wanted to race tonight to make round 2, because he was 101 points behind on 6 starts. If he raced tonight, he had a shot to get in. So if Boyd, Blake, Shearless, Joseph, Webster, Sarah, Sylvia, if those, Matthew Badby still has a chance, Rabel Jr.'s in this. If you're any of those drivers, I mean, we've got a ton that could juke and drive. We got a ton in our field right at this moment that just needs a good finish, that are outside of it. And, well, James Wenzel, he's 3rd. He's 79th, 40 points out. And a lot of the drivers around him have had not so good nights. Where's your headspace?
Yeah, just the only thing I think of, like, if I'm just sitting and driving one of these trucks right now, is just I think now at the time, you just got to stop thinking about it. I think you got the final 10 laps. You just got to just keep that on your mind and just get to the end of this race and just let the points shake where they may fall. You know, just let the cars play where they fall and all that. So I think now's the time to get yourself focused. We're getting ready to go green. Just get that point stuff. Just get it out of your mind and just go get the best finish you can, as we are ready to go green with coming to 10 laps to go, and we are back underway, Terry.
Oh my goodness, 10 laps to go as Christopher Hill holds the race lead. Daniel Smallwood, he doesn't need to win, Dan. He doesn't need to finish inside the top 5. He just needs to finish. Don't push it. He's there. He will lock himself in just by finishing tonight. That's all he has to do. Top 10 sounds great. Top 5 would be phenomenal. Just finish the darn race. You're there. Connor Euroshak, he needs a top 5. He needs to finish well. He's 9 points above the cut line. He needs to stay where he's at or fight to go a little further. There's people behind him who are having phenomenal runs here tonight that are around him. He doesn't need to drop. He needs to stay where he sits. As Daniel Nanny comes up to 6th, that's going to be big. That's going to change this. He's taking points away from these drivers. 3 wide, 2 wide, turns 3. Here we go, coming 8 to go.
Yeah, take a look at Seth Ryder right there, running in P7. He needs a big points night. Oh, contact with Daniel Nanny and Connor Euroshak. That was a close call right there as they're coming to 8 laps to go. Seth Ryder, he needs a big points night if he's going to be able to advance to round number 2. And if he can maybe pick off a few of these guys right here, pick off Daniel Nanny, pick off Euroshak, and they don't do it like that. They save it down the back straightaway. Yeah, they saved down the back straightaway, but look at that. Look at all the damage he's got on the right side. I have no idea what happened there with Daniel Nanny, but this is not what you need with this very few laps left.
It is not what he needs, and you talked about Seth Ryder a little earlier, 75 outside of the top 70, 82nd in points as he runs coming into this race. Not what he needed, but what's helping him now coming to 6 laps to go is they're 2 wide, fanning out to 3, a little further back is Racing. Now they find themselves fanned here. Here comes Venable, here comes Avila, here comes Alvis. They're coming to make the pass of the damaged machine of the 18 of Ryder, 2 wide. Oh, block into the grass, pass to the grass and Road to Pro, he makes it.
He's made it work.
Oh, he wants to be turned him. Oh, he turned him around. He goes.
Sliding. And they're wrecking behind and put it out. Nope. Oh, damn, that's the big one.
Still green, caution. It was a wreck within a wreck within a wreck within a wreck, and the caution finally happens when the wreck goes. Holy crap, Dan.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, one of the downsides of being in a hotel room is trying not to be too loud where you're making other guests angry. So, because I'll tell you what, I wanted to get out of my seat, and with all this excitement that's going down, but right now I'm trying to get yelled at right now. So yeah, Raul Alvis, he made a move, and then Seth Ryder was just getting bounced all over the place, and then there goes Will Cooley, and more trucks into the wall, because everyone's spinning everywhere. And Seth Ryder, he was running P7. Looks like he was going to get some amazing points, maybe have an outside shot. And unfortunately, Terry, looks like his road to pro is going to end here with probably 5 laps to go of what was such a promising run. I thought he was going to be able to pull it off, depending on how others were going to finish. But unfortunately, it's not going to be in the cards tonight. What a sad way to end round 1.
Major implications fall into this Road to Pro as we have started to kind of trim the fat a little bit. We can officially say that we just eliminated Seth Ryder. He is no longer with an opportunity to get his way into Road to Pro. It's over. It's over for him. We can officially say as well that a lot of these drivers have eliminated themselves. Waterworth is done. Cray, Jordan Kuntz, I believe, is having a very good run. I didn't get to see he's 39 over there. Wenzel still having a good run here. It's all on the table. Route split 1 and will finish before us. Seth the Merchant holds that. He's locked in. Hurst sits second. Hurst is inside the top 70, we would assume. If all plays out, they're coming to 1 to go. We're in a caution. I'll call it here. Navarro, Alfala. This will be tricky because Boyd Hogan, it is white flag in the air for them. Boyd Hogan sits 6th. He's going to need some players that was in front of him, and he's got the players that have kind of fell quite a bit here.
Down to 7th.
Yeah, so Phillips goes to 6th. He was locked in. Boyd Hogan goes to 7th. Seth the Merchant gets this race win. Hurst locks himself in. Nichols locks himself in. Boyd Hogan still up in the air. Blaze Crawford. He got the spot at the line. So we look at it here, and this will be the most interesting portion. Anthony Burrows locks himself in. Where does the points go? Because split 2 is not over, and I hope that Jacob Pitts is watching, James Pike is watching. Please call this race at the end, because championship points are on the line to put yourself into the top 70. Call it. Tell the fans it's watching you. They got a good chunk watching Top Split over there. Tell them that we got a good fight here. There's a ton of these drivers that are fighting in here. With Connor Yuroshak, he's sitting 5th. That's big, because if he has a good run with Boyd Hogan having a good run, well, that could have shot him in the foot. Tommy Gossett with a bad run. Batby so far on pit road, not a good run. He got the incident. We're coming to a natural green-white checkered.
Actually, I think if I let go, we're actually going to be coming to our first overtime. So we are in overtime territory. So you thought these guys were aggressive before. I don't think we've seen anything yet. As we're getting ready to come down to 2 to go, and I think this is going to be the final split right here. That's really going to determine where all the points are going to fall. Because this is probably one of the last few splits that is still going, that is paying out the big points, where a lot of people are around that top 70 line as well. So I don't know about you, Terry. I'm sat back in my chair. I am ready to watch these final 2 laps.
Well, I had even undressed from work. I'm still in my Take 5 shirts. I've got my pants, my boots on, but this is an absolute barn burner. This is the authentic attempt. We're still inside the window that we have here this afternoon that puts us in the authentic green-white checkered finish to reset your top 5. Well, top 10, Christopher Hill, Eddie Kerner, James Wenzel, Daniel Smallwood. Connor Yuroshak is your top 5. Daniel Nanny, Philip Groner, Michael Venable, Johnny Avila, Robbie Vrabel Jr. Royal Alvis is your top 10 as we run right now. This could change. A caution could change everything and send us to overtime attempt number 1. Do we see that overtime? We don't know. It would be interesting to see if we went from a green flag pace to a caution pace. But I can tell you one thing, Dan, get ready and strap in, because this will be fun, as it is one attempt at a green-white checkered.
I am ready. Attempt number 1 of 3. Are we going to be using all 3? Well, that is to be determined as they're coming off turn 4. Terry, we are ready to get this thing back underway. As Christopher Hill is going to lead him down for what might be the final time. He's away. Green flag. Overtime number 1. Here we go.
Fans watching, grab an ice cold Coca-Cola Zero or any fan refreshment of the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series, because one of these drivers could potentially be in that race on Tuesday night starting next season if they make it through contender and round number 2 to get in the top 20. Green flag down the back straightaway for the penultimate time through 3 and 4, single file up front. No biggie. Connor Yuroshak's going to get a challenge from Daniel Nanny, who's up 8 spots since we started. White flags in the air. Christopher Hill takes it. Eddie Kerner still runs second. Wenzel just needs to relax. Sit there. Don't go crazy. You're good. Hold it in here. 1 lap to go. Up the track goes Christopher Hill. Eddie Kerner doesn't get the run. Dan down the back straightaway, plays defense down the back into turns 3 and 4. Here comes Eddie Kerner to the bottom. We have a drag race to the line, side by side, off of 3 and 4. No contact. No contact's made. Contact. They're touched. They touched 3 wide to the line. Christopher Hill gets it.
They got him. Wow.
Oh my gosh, that was my 1/1000th of a second separated Christopher Hill and Eddie Kerner for the win in the 8th round of the eNASCAR iRacing Road to Pro Series. Oh my gosh, holy mackerel.
I'm telling you what, Terry, I wish I could get all excited, but again, I'm in a friggin' hotel room for crying out loud. But like, you're going down to turn 3. I don't know what was going down. I don't know if he gave him the bottom intentionally or what he was doing, but he gave him the bottom. I thought Eddie was going to get him to the line, but then they started beating banging like Kurt Busch, Ricky Craven vibes right there. James Wenzel was coming in for 3 wide, almost got there. But in the end, Christopher Hill hangs on for the win to win the final race of round number 1. Round 8 of round number 1 of Road to Pro. And as he celebrates in the front straightaway, we're going to get ready and see where the points are going to fall is going to take us maybe a few minutes. But if this sheet gets updated, I think we'll be able to bring you who will be our top 70. But Terry, out of all the races we've had, I think that's what a way to end round one with a very close finish here in second split. What a race!
I do want to say thank you to our people over at FTF for playing our finish on FTF's coverage and the great, amazing coverage that they have put on this season for Split 1. Thank you so much. They played us authentically to the end. I appreciate that. That was awesome. We take a look at our finishing results here this afternoon. What a race. What a finish. Holy crap. Great finish in Split 1. Great finish in Split 2. Thank you to them over there. Great coverage, hits. McCandless, Pike, all of them are what they do for this series. Christopher Hill wins it. Eddie Kerner, Wenzel, Nanny, Smallwood, top 5. Venable, Euroshack, Groner, Alvis, Avila, top 10. We'll scroll through here. We won't go through all of it. The championship implications for Road to Pro, kind of, you know, it varied for where they finished. We'll have to see the points as it runs. You see big in there. Robbie Rabel Jr. was outside looking in. Kyler Wynn was locked in. Nothing big there. Tyler Groff, Justin Lowry was in that as well. Batby, almost positive that he was a little further than what he potentially should have been. You go a little further on down in your list, and wow, Jack Coyne. I'm out of breath for that one. Coyne was 32nd in the points. That's huge. Dalton Collins, Tommy Gossett. That was also massive that we saw there. Nate Stewart with his issues early on in this. Wenzel locked himself in there. We can say that honestly. Philip Groner, I believe he locked himself in with that 8th place finish as well. Just trying to go through our guys that was in this split that potentially put themselves up. It's still up in the air, as I believe we might have updated. Oh my gosh, what a shakeup! Do you see the points?
I'm about to bring them up right now. I think we've had some major implications here, Terry. I'm about to bring them up right now for myself. eNASCAR points updated. Clicking on the link right now. Let's take a look. And of course, this may not be final because they still maybe got some other splits, but I think we are getting a better shape of who our top 70 is going to be.
And I'll go through this very reluctantly because we do have post-race as we're still updating as we sit currently at this moment. Boyd Hogan did the impossible of what we wasn't sure he was going to do, jumped up to 65th. He is in as we sit. Wow. Tommy Gossett fell like a brick, went to 67th. Gray jumped up to 62nd. There's still splits coming in. Justin Lowry, as we sit, was a tie with Lane Graves. Not sure how this goes. 100%. We'll keep this up. It'll be to our side. We will hold this. We'll put ourselves on camera. When we come back from break, we'll do our post-race interviews. We will be right back to the eNASCAR Road to Pro Qualifying iRacing Series live on LSR TV and FTN. Step aside. We'll be back with post-race interviews. after an exciting time. Oh my gosh. I don't know what to say. I'm very speechless when it comes to this. I didn't think that me rushing home and you in a hotel room, that was a magical finish, Stan. And the points are updating. We'll look at this as we go. What a finish!
I have no idea what to say, Terry. I mean, we got just putting this all together last second, just calling the race like race fans, and that we get that exciting finish to end off round 1 of Road to Pro here. And we still have the point situation going on. A lot of people were so far down, they made their way in. People have fell out, they lost their shot. I mean, plenty of storylines to talk about here at the end of this one.
And so, just to be clear with the fans at home, the people who were watching Top Split, this split, hear me out. We're going to give you live points as it runs. All right, I don't know. I'm not an expert. I really do feel like we're on like MSNBC or something covering a presidential debate, an election here, because we're watching the tallies and the votes or the stuff come in when it comes to them updating a split to us, right? So as we sit, heartbreak for Nate Stewart. He's 72nd. He has 10 points as the points came in outside for the Rise Esports driver. Not good. Not what we see here. James Holzer goes plus 30 over the cut line, right? He's in as we sit. We don't know what goes. Tommy Gossett dropped like a rock. He was up. He fell. He's 64th. He's currently locked in as we sit. Daniel Eberhard, Boyd Hogan with an incredible come from behind. He was 92nd, for goodness sakes. He is now 61st as we sit. It's still coming in.
Insane. Like, that's a big guy. Boyd Hogan, I didn't think he was going to get in. I saw the points coming in. He would need to have a big night, and thankfully he had the night he was hoping for. I was about to say, if he would have went out first round, that would have been a real shocker, because he made it all the way to contender last season. It's a shame if he went out around 1, but he's in. He gets to continue his journey to the top and maybe try to get back to the contender series. There's so many names. Of course, it's still updating as we speak. Keep track of them myself. Still trying to work on it, see if we can get some interviews. Trying to still work on that right now, but I don't know. Like, we got so many storylines to talk about, and like you mentioned, Nate Stewart. Literally, we go back to that incident. It was literally out of his control. We said some sort of failure, as we saw that didn't bring out a yellow, caused a lot of damage to his truck, and just it's that stuff. Like, you just can't make this stuff up. It's just the luck of the draw you get sometimes. And I know I've been on that side of it many times, but I'm out of words. Like,
so hold on. So here we go. So and I apologize for cutting you there.
That's all right.
We still have a split. We're waiting on the 6th and the 10th split is what we're waiting on. FTF just went live. They went live with the other split. With, I believe, that there was only one driver, Steinmiller, that had an opportunity to work his way in that split. Steinmiller's the 2. Battle for the lead. He turns the race leader. Clark goes around. Steinmiller takes the race lead down the back straightaway. Steinmiller holds it. Could be the key that locks it in. Steinmiller is sitting, oh my gosh, in the points. Steinmiller.
Terry, this is never ending.
Where's Steinmiller? Steinmiller is sitting 120 or 112th at the points, 231 out. He won it. Is that enough to put him in?
Is that enough? Well, we're going to see how many points that's going to give him, though. Because, I mean, he's way down one of those lower splits. I'm not sure exactly what split. What split did you say? Was that 6th split?
That should have been 6th split right there. Well, 6th split.
That's still a good chunk of points, I would think. How many points you say he was out?
He was out 231 points from the cut line, and I tell you one thing, the 11 is pissed.
Oh,
he turned his ass.
We got some beef here at the end of this race.
I'd be mad too. He wrecked him.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, we're still so much stuff. Like, they're having some sort of party in the infield.
Yeah, they're partying, all right.
Yeah, but we're still looking at the points. I'm waiting to update the points.
Steinmiller going in. Steinmiller on his 8th start. That's 4 wins. That is 4 wins on the road to pro season. No matter what split you're in, 4 wins is really good.
Absolutely. It feels good when you can win a road pro race no matter what split it is, especially in those higher splits. Trying to refresh my page here, trying to stay updated. This is the most action we've had all season, and it's not even on the racetrack, Terry. Like, this is crazy.
So Steinmiller missed. Steinmiller did not make it in, even with 4 wins on the race season. 140 points put Steinmiller now 113. It's still updating. We're still going. It ain't over. We're updating points as we go. Now it goes back to normal. 95th, 113 points out. That's where Hank Steinmiller finds himself here. That didn't shake up a ton up here. We'll see where the 10th split puts themselves in. Wow. It is not ending. You're right. It's never ending here.
Yeah, like the points are still updating, but like anything can happen, Terry. Like,
oh
my, can't even keep up.
Oh no!
What's happening? I'm trying to keep up. There's so much stuff going on.
Currently, unofficially, Boyd Hogan 7 points out. It just updated again. I don't know what happened. Boyd Hogan now back in. These point standings continuously keep changing. I've refreshed a million times.
I think it's broken. I'm pretty sure.
I'm not sure what it is.
This is what it's done so far.
Here we go. So FTF is starting to call certain things. They have the top 40 perfect to a T. I have Alex Kalanick sitting in 40th. I have Michael Venable sitting in 41st. Boyd Hogan 61st. Daniel Eberhardt, Brandon Hanna, Tommy Gossett, Matthew Baer, James Holzer, Joseph Causey, that is.
Yeah, Holzer, he got.
I've got Wentz.
Line. Oh.
The sheet is wrong. The sheet that they showed is wrong. Chris Wentz, the one that we're reading off of, in by 3 as we sit. We're waiting. I believe we're waiting on 10th split to be put in here too. I don't know what we're waiting on, but these are not official. These are unofficial that we're reading to you. Holzer made it by 30.
Still waiting for the points. My sheet says Ryan Hill is out by 3. Chris Wentz is in by 3.
Correct. These are official then. These would be official. We're there. FTF called it as well. I'm listening to the background. We won't pull it up on the screen. It don't have enough time to put it in.
Yeah, I think we pretty much. I think we've got our sheet right here.
We've got it. This is it. Dalton Collins made it. Kwame Scott made it after a bad outing. He had enough points to lock it in. Wow. I got Trayton Latham is 43rd. We're on part with them. Oh my gosh. Connor Urashak made it. So the people from our split. Wenzel made it. Brandon Pipgrass, we saw him earlier in our season. Philip Groner. Wow. Hogan made it by 76. The outside man made it in.
Oh, well, the big shot, the big Game 7 moment right there. Buzzer beater at the last second and makes his way into round 2. And guys like Nate Stewart, we saw what happened to him. He's out. Ryan Hill is out. Alex Russell, Ashton Schleitz, a lot of other guys that we see. Raul Alvarez was in our race, trying to make some big moves at the end. He's out. My brain's gone to smush. I can't even keep up anymore. This is insane.
Tough for Nate Stewart.
Yeah.
Will Cooley.
Verizon Esports Bunch.
Yeah, Will Cooley, who finished 23rd. Dallas Patska. That's tough.
Patska's gone. Ben Baffert, he got an incident. He was out by 48. Robbie Vrabel Jr., he's out. So several other guys just. And then Seth Ryder, who looked like he had a shot to get into.
It was a tie, Daniel Falkingham.
We had a tie.
For 69th.
Oh. He did.
John Jenkins and Chris Wetz was 1,113 points behind the top guy with a grand total of 1,478 points. And Ryan A. Hill missed it by 3. That was one spot.
It's all it takes. And like
one spot.
Like I said, we go back to the what ifs I was talking about earlier. Like, what could you have done different throughout those first 8 races? What could you have done better? And those guys like Ryan Hill, Nate Stewart, all these guys, they're definitely going to be going back saying, like, what if? I mean, and it feels bad for saying this, too, because, like, we saw Nate Stewart in our race, we saw what happened to him. Like, he had some wheel malfunction. That puts him out. It's just, this kind of stuff is what you just don't want in these kind of situations. Fortunately, just... It fit the Rise Esports game really good tonight, and a lot of people are gonna not be enjoying the night, rest of the night off. But a lot of people are gonna be really happy. A lot of people are gonna be disappointed, and this may not be final. A lot of people might not accept going to round 2 because we had a few people drop out that decided to not go through. So who knows what could happen? But I think we're gonna get a better shot if this sheet is correct from what I'm looking at right now. I think we got our top 70 heading to round 2, starting in about a month's time.
I believe that this is correct. FTF, the top split coverage, third split coverage, covered the exact same way that we covered it here. We'll close it here because, as we see, you talked about it, there's drivers that it might not advance, might not go over. We've seen crazy things happen last season, right? We saw the drama on Twitter. We saw the drama that imploded inside of the eNASCAR world, where drivers was not allowed and invited to round 2 of this qualifying iRacing event due to conduct issues. Does that reoccur here? Do we knock out 4? Do we knock out 3, the people that don't show up? It has been an absolute pleasure calling these races with you. We'll have you back for round 2. I'm almost positive of it, as we will cover it here.
If it's anything like what we've seen tonight throughout the entire first round, I definitely hope to be back because I've been enjoying this stuff. I mean, I'm in a friggin' hotel room crying out loud. So
who's that behind you? I have to ask.
I got Parker. I'm actually here with Parker White. Me and him are heading to the airport. We're heading to Charlotte.
Hi, Parker White.
Charlotte. There's Parker back there. Parker's mom is with us too, so we're all going to have a nice fun time hopefully in Charlotte. Hopefully all the rain stays away. So I think. Man, I'm all wore out. I don't know about you, but it's been...
I'm tired. 13-hour day at work, and now this.
I'd say it's about time to wrap it, because I think I tried to reach out to the top 3, or we haven't been able to get anyone, so I think we're just going to wrap it up right here, and I think we'll see it all finalized tomorrow, but I think as we leave here tonight, Terry, I think we got our top 70 all wrapped up here.
I tell you what, from everybody from FTN for letting us do this and being a part of the LSR TV, we appreciate it. For Daniel Falkenkamp, for Jason Rockefeller, who wasn't with us tonight, he'll be back July 6th, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time from the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. We will catch the eNASCAR Road to Pro Qualifying iRacing Series Round 2 right here on LSR TV, FTN, and all of our major partners that we could find. We will have that coverage for you in every round of 2, all the way down to Homestead, Miami, September 28th at 9 Eastern. Good night. I'm Terry Radford. Thank you so much. Good night, everybody.